Good morning, afternoon, evening. How y'all doing today? Welcome back to Mr. Morrow's Algebra 2 class. Today we're going to continue with polynomials, and we're going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. Really easy stuff. Everyone has done this before, has seen it before. But like always, I'm going to hopefully get into real depth here and really make you understand what's going on. So first of all, when we're talking about polynomials, guys, there's a lot of types of polynomials, okay? And the most basic type of polynomial is called a monomial. And a monomial reminds me, at least, of what we defined a while ago as a term. A monomial is any real number, variable, or product of numbers and variables with whole number exponents. In order for it to be a polynomial, the variables must be in the numerator in order to be classified as a monomial or a polynomial in general. Okay? A one-term polynomial is called a monomial. A two-term polynomial is called a binomial. A three-term polynomial is called a trinomial. A four-term or above polynomial is called an nth term polynomial, where n represents the number of terms. So, for example, okay, what's going to happen here, examples of monomials, just a one-term polynomial, something like 6. 6 is a monomial because it's a number. Negative 4y squared, that's a monomial because it's the product of numbers and variables. X, that's a monomial because it is a variable. W over 3, that is a monomial because it is a variable. 2.5xy cubed, that is a monomial because the variables in the numerator, the exponents are whole numbers, and it is the product of numbers and or variables. So any number by itself, any variable by itself, okay, in the numerator, or any product of numbers and variables in the numerator, where the variables have whole number exponents, those are monomials. Does that make sense? Pretty simple, right? Okay, let's look at some examples of non-monomials. Some examples of non-monomials are like 8 over x. That's it. X in the denominator is not a polynomial. Bye-bye. X over the square root of y. Nope, can't do it. Square root of y gives you a exponent of 1/2. We haven't learned that yet. But in addition to that, it's in the denominator. Can't do it. For the negative x, nope. The exponent of x is a negative 4. In order for it to be a polynomial, it must be a whole number exponent. That's a negative. That's an integer. All of those are examples of non-monomials. Does everyone understand the difference between a polynomial and a non-polynomial? Okay? Remember, I don't care how many terms it has. If you have a denominator, a variable in the denominator, it's not a polynomial at all. If you have an exponent of a variable that is not a whole number, it's not a polynomial at all. What differentiates a polynomial from a monomial? A monomial is a one-term polynomial. Now, since we're on monomials still, we got to talk about the degree of a monomial. And the degree of a monomial, guys, is the sum of the variable exponents. And the degree of a non-zero constant is 0. Okay? So numbers don't have degrees. 5, 12, 432, those are numbers. They don't have degrees. There is no degree. They don't have a degree. Degrees go by the exponents of the monomials. And you add up all the exponents to find the degree. So for example, and 0 has no degree as well. Now, a degree of a polynomial is the highest degreed monomial within the polynomial. So let me explain my madness. What is the degree of each polynomial? Okay. The degree of a whole number or of any number other than 0 is 0. So the degree of this 5 is 0. The degree of this x is 1. So the degree of this is sorry, I'm on magic pen. So the degree of this particular monomial is 0 plus 1, so the degree is 1. 4, the degree of 4 is 0. Because the degree of a whole number is always 0, of a constant is 0. Now I've got 6x cubed y squared. The degree here is going to be 5. Why, Moto? Because it's the sum of the variable exponents. Yes, the degree of 5 is 0. The degree of x is 1. So the degree of a monomial is the sum of all of the degrees of the monomial. It's the sum of the exponents of the monomial. So 0 plus 1, the degree is 1. The degree of 4 is 0 because degrees of numbers are 0. The degree of 6x cubed y squared is 5 because I look at the degrees of the variables and I add them together. 3 plus 2 is 5, so the degree is 5. Yes, sir. How about for D? I got 8xy. What's my degree? Very good. The degree is 2. What's my degree for E now? Huh? No. The degree of a polynomial, okay, when you have more than one term, is going to belong to the degree of the highest degreed monomial. So what's the degree of this monomial? What's the degree of this monomial? What's the degree of this monomial? So what's the highest degreed monomial here? So what is the degree of this polynomial? 2. It goes to the highest degreed monomial. Come again? This is when it is a polynomial. Just like I had defined like 3 minutes ago. The degree of a polynomial is the highest degreed monomial within the polynomial. It's the highest degreed monomial within the polynomial. Yes, sir, my brother. Well, what's the degree of this? What's the degree of this monomial? What's the degree of this monomial? 3. What's the degree of this monomial? 7. What's the degree of this monomial? Which is the highest degree monomial? So what is the degree of this polynomial? Excellent. Sir. If you had two monomials with the same degree, it would still go to that. If that's the largest one. If that's the largest, the degree is 7. Yeah, doesn't matter. Thank you, sir. Does that make sense, gentlemen? Yes, sir. Come again? Yeah, it goes to the highest degree. The degree of this monomial here is 5. The degree of this is 3. The degree of this is 7. The degree of this is 0. The degree of a polynomial goes to the highest degreed monomial. Thank you, my brother. Yes, sir. Okay. This is 2x to the 5th power. And my degree would be 5. But we're running before we walk, guys. Let me stick to the basics and teach you step by step, please. Thank you, sir, for caring, though. I appreciate that greatly. Does everyone see, though, the difference between finding a degree of a monomial and finding the degree of a polynomial? Whoa. You sure? Okay. Now. A polynomial is a monomial or sum of monomials. It's that simple. A polynomial is a monomial or the sum of monomials. We had already said this verbally at the beginning of the lesson. Now I'm solidifying it with actual definitions. So a monomial is just a one-term polynomial. Mono, the root there, Latin root, one. Think of a bicycle for two terms, two tires. A binomial is a two-term polynomial. And of course, they're followed by examples. A trinomial is a three-term polynomial. And then an nth term polynomial is four or more term polynomial. If you have a polynomial with 9 terms, that would be called a 9-term polynomial. If you had a polynomial with 56 terms, it'd be a 56-term polynomial. Okay? Now, just for giggles, to make sure we got this degree here. What is the degree, please, gentlemen, of this first monomial that I gave you? It is 4. Thank you, because 2 plus 1 plus 1 is the sum of all the degrees, 4. What is the degree of this next polynomial, please, gentlemen? 1. What is the degree of this next example here for the trinomial? Thank you, because you go to the highest degreed monomial. Excellent, gentlemen. That makes sense, my brothers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, standard form of a polynomial, okay? A polynomial is written in standard form when the polynomial is written with the degree of its monomial terms decreasing from left to right. So in other words, I want to go from highest exponent to lowest exponent. That's called standard form. The degree of a polynomial, again, is the degree of the highest degreed monomial within the polynomial. So, let's see if we know what we're doing here. Okay? So, if I have a polynomial 6, what's the degree of this polynomial? Okay, good. What is the name of, wait a second. Did I? No? Okay. Now, this is going back. Let's see if you guys remember. When it's a zero term, when it's a 0 degree, okay, it's just a constant. Because it's just a number. So that is just a constant. How many terms do I have there? What is the name using the number of terms here? What is it? Not just monomial. A monomial tells you that it's a one-term polynomial, sir. How about 5x plus 9? What's the degree? 1. When it's a degree of 1, guys, it's called linear. How many terms? What's the name using terms? Binomial. Thank you. How many terms? I'm sorry. What's the degree of this guy? 2. When you have a power of 2, do you guys remember what that's called? The degree of 2, it's called quadratic. Number of terms here. So what's the name using term numbers? Trinomial. Very good, gentlemen. How many, what's the degree of this next one? What's the name of a third degree? It's called cubic. How many terms? So what kind of, what's the name of this using terms? Monomial. What's the degree? The name using a degree of 4 is called a quartic. Quartic. How many terms? What's the name of 3 terms? Last but not least, what's the degree? A 5th degree is called quintic. Number of terms? How many? What's the name of 2 terms? Very good. If you have degrees larger than 5, it would just be like the 4-term polynomials. You'd go 6th degree polynomial, or 57th degree polynomial, or 8th degree polynomial. but the degrees from 0 to 5 have names. Constant, linear, quadratic, cubic, quartic, quintic. And yes, I will be testing you on these names. Almost last but not least. Now, the whole point of this lesson, guys, I went way above and beyond because I like to make sure that you guys understand everything. But the whole point of this lesson is adding polynomials. Well, guess what? Now you know what polynomials are. Now you know how to determine their degree. You know how to name them. Now let's learn how to add them, brothers. When we're adding polynomials, remember, guys, remember when we learned about terms that we could only add like terms? This is exactly the same thing, just expanded a little bit. So first of all, what do you think I would do with this negative here, y'all? Distribute it, thank you. So I'm going to rewrite this as x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x minus 7x cubed minus 5x squared plus 12 because I distributed. Now we rock and roll by adding like terms. So x cubed and negative 7x cubed is negative 6x cubed. See you later, see you later. Negative 3x squared and negative 5x squared are like terms. Add them together, negative 8x squared. We've already done like terms. That's why I'm going very fast. We've done this already. And now 12 is by its, no, 12 and positive 5, so that's plus 17. And bada bing, bada boom, you're done. That's how you add polynomials. Adding polynomials, we've done it already. We just never called it polynomials. We called it terms. But think about it. One term is a monomial. 2 terms, binomial. 3 terms, trinomial. We talked about those as well, those names already. You with me here, brothers? Bless you. Okay, now here, same thing. I've got 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 3x cubed plus 8x squared plus 9x because I have to distribute a negative. If it's a positive, you just add them. But if you have a negative that you're subtracting, you've got to distribute. So now 2x cubed and negative 3x cubed is negative x cubed. Okay? Negative 5x squared and positive 8x squared is positive 3x squared. Then I have 3x and positive 9x, so that's positive 12x. And I am done. What's the degree of that polynomial? How would you name it by term number? Thank you. Last but not least, I've got 4a squared b minus 3a squared b cubed plus 2ab squared, distribute, 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 minus 3a squared b plus 4a squared b cubed minus 5ab. So now, what are the like terms? Okay, I got 4a squared b and a negative 3a squared b. So what's 4a squared b's minus 3a squared b's? 1a squared b. Very good. Goodbye, goodbye. Then I've got a negative 3a squared b cubed and a positive 4a squared b cubed. What are those two added together? Positive a squared b cubed. Very good. Goodbye, goodbye. Now, are these two guys like terms? The last ones, are these like terms? No. So I'm not even going to underline them. But we do have to go in standard form. So who has a higher degree? This guy or this guy? That's a positive, actually. So that's positive 2ab squared minus 5ab. I have no other like terms because like terms are the same variable raised to the same power. I have no other like terms. I am done. Does that make sense, gentlemen? We're almost done. Are you sure it makes sense? Promise? Well, very good, son. This would not be a quartic. This would be a quintic because the degree of this bad boy is 5. And this is 4 terms, so it's a 4-term polynomial. So this would be called a quintic 4-term polynomial. This isn't in standard form yet. In true form on the test or on a quiz, the real answer on an SAT would be a squared b squared cubed, sorry. Then either one, because both of these I'm going to put down, have a degree of 3. And then minus the 5ab. Make sense? Thank you, brothers. Okay? And then last but not least, just evaluating, guys, which we've done. How do I evaluate negative 2x cubed plus 7x plus 1 for x is 0, and then I want to do it for when x is negative 4? Just plug it in. You got negative 2 times, when x is 0, 0 cubed, plus 7 times 0 plus 1. Okay, so that's 0 cubed is 0 times 0 is 0, plus 7 times 0 is 0, so this equals 1. And now in red, we'll do this guy, negative 2 times negative 4 cubed, plus 7 times negative 4, plus 1. Negative 4 cubed is negative 64 times negative 2 is 128, minus 28, plus 1. 128 minus 28 is 100, plus 1 equals 101. Does that make sense, boys? Okay. This last one, let's do it. I got negative 2 times m, which is negative 2 squared, times n, which is negative 4, plus 3 times m, which is negative 2, times n, which is negative 4, minus n, which is negative 4 squared. This is going to be negative. Okay, let's do this. Let's try to. What happened here? Hold on. Sorry. Okay, let's try this again. Maybe it'll work. This is negative 2 times 4 times a negative 4 plus negative 2 times negative 4 is 8 times 3 is negative 24 minus a 16 because negative 4 squared is 16. So negative 2 times negative 4 is 8 times 4 is 32 minus 24 minus 16. 32 minus 24 is 8 minus 16 is negative 8. Thank you so very much. I hope you learned a lot. Have a great day and bye-bye. Okay, sorry about that. There's a little tiny mistake here. It's actually a huge mistake. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8 times 3 is positive 24. So this is wrong. The correct answer is negative 2 times negative 4 is 8 times 4 is 32 plus 24 minus 16. So this is 56 minus 16. So my correct answer is actually positive 40. Sorry about that. Thanks again. Hope you had a great one, and I hope you learned a lot. Bye-bye.
Saw it late, and then you already like 5 questions.
Where?
Example 2.
Oh, because look, I wrote it as a 5 here. Because I didn't write. It's not fine. I'm a dumbass. That should be a 5x. Yes. But for that example, if you want, just get rid of the x or add the x here, and then it would be plus 5x plus 12. Awesome. Be well, man. May God bless you.